Hello and welcome to another build from scratch. And last time we had it started so that we had a scrolling background happening behind our little character who was walking there. It looked something like this. So you can see there's something new up here on the screen, but here's what it looked like before without the jumping. So we just had the background going across and Pico was walking, and I've added a couple of things since last time that I'm going to show you how to build today. First of all, there's that butterfly going across. And when I jump and catch it, you can see that the score goes up by 1. So that's pretty cool and actually not too difficult to do. So let's take a look at how you do something like that. So here's what I had before was just this guy on the screen, Pico, and when I press the space bar, he starts moving the legs and the arms, and the background is moving. So kind of like he is moving. And I'm going to show you how we add the butterfly and the score. Actually, not that hard to do at all. To make the butterfly, first of all, we need the butterfly to move across the screen, and that's going to be a new sprite. And there's the one that I like right there. Now, when I get started off, I want to, first of all, get to the right size, because that does look too big to me. I'm going to change that to, let's try 70% and see how that works. And yeah, that looks about right. Could be a little smaller. It's as big as Pico's head right now. So let's make that just a little smaller. And there we go. And I'm going to move this over to the right-hand side as far as I can. Actually, maybe before I do that, I'm going to turn that around so it faces the other way. So I am going to have it point in a direction and that way. And if you have done rotation of things before in Scratch, you know that by default, when they spin around, they will spin around completely, so they'll end up upside down like that. And to change that, we set the rotation style. Set the rotation style so that it is left-right, which means that it either faces left or right. It doesn't rotate upside down. Let me make this a little bit bigger so it's easier for you to see. Okay, so I've got the butterfly, and I'm going to, once again, just have it. I'm just going to bring out this change X by 10 and click it as often as possible. There we go, until the butterfly is all the way over as far as it's going to go to the right. I can see it's mostly off the stage, just its head sticking out a little bit. So I'm going to get rid of that right now. And I'm going to also make that invisible. So let's see, go to that spot. And I also don't want to see it at first. So I am going to hide that. There we go. So let's click and see what happens. Okay, when we start, it disappears. When I press the space bar, still doesn't appear because we haven't told it to do anything yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the butterfly fly across the screen so that Pico can jump up and get it. But we aren't going to actually send that butterfly across. We're going to have the butterfly make clones or copies of itself. And when it gets to the right time, every once in a while, it's going to make a clone. And the clone is going to fly across the screen until it gets to the other side. So let's do that one. When the flag is clicked, actually, we'll have that start with the space bar, same as the jumping Pico. So there we go. When the space key is pressed, it is going to wait for a few seconds, and then it's going to make a clone, and the clone's going to fly across. So it needs to, every few seconds, it's going to make a clone. So I'm going to put a repeat in there because I want it to happen more than once. And for now, I'm going to make that repeat forever, but that'll get changed later on. And repeat forever, I want it to wait a few seconds. So let's have it wait 3 seconds for now. And after it waits 3 seconds, it is going to show up briefly. Otherwise, we get invisible clones. And then under control, create a clone of myself. And then it's going to hide again. So let's give that a try, and we can see what happens is every 3 seconds, we should see one soon. Okay, and peeking out the right side of the stage, there is a clone of the butterfly. Actually, it's several clones of the butterfly stacked one on top of the other because we haven't told the clones to do anything yet. I'll stop that. You can see the clone disappears when I stop the program. And so what I need to do now is give instructions for the clone to do something. Okay, so again, that is under control. Here we go. When I start as a clone, let's see, what's it going to do? It's going to take little steps across the screen until it gets to the left-hand side. So let's say here that it is going to repeat until, and what's it going to repeat until? It's going to repeat until it gets to the other side. Now, when it gets to the other side, let me just show the butterfly here for a second. When it gets to the other side, that means that it has gone all the way over here. And that's at minus 245. So let's just get the butterfly back and hidden there. So minus 245. So I'm going to keep moving until that x coordinate, the left and right coordinate, is at minus 245 or less than 245. So let's see here. Let's go to my operators and grab my less than. There we go. And I want to do that until the x coordinate, the x value, right there, x position, is less than, let's say minus 240. That should do the trick. And what's it going to do? It is just going to change its x. And if we want it to go to the left, that means it has to be a negative number. So let's say minus 10. And after it gets over to that side, I want it to disappear. I could hide that, but even better with clones, I have this possibility of deleting the clone. So we should now see a clone appear every 3 seconds. And then once it appears, it is going to change x by minus 10 until it gets to the left-hand side, and then it is going to get rid of the clone. So let's take a look at that, starting with the spacebar. So we should see some clones appear, fly across the stage, and then disappear. It looks like they're flying right off the edge, which is what we would expect them to do. So that is how we make the butterfly fly across the screens. And now let's make Pico jump up and try to catch them. Again, I'll make this a little bit larger so you can see. Okay, so when any key is pressed, it's going to go on to the next costume. And now what we want to do is we're going to make it jump when we press the space bar. So let's go up to events. When the space key is pressed, it's going to jump up and hang in the air for a second and then jump down, or then go down. And going up and down, that's the y coordinate, or the y position. So what I'm going to do is when the space key is pressed, I'm going to change y by 10 for now. We'll adjust that. And then I'm going to have it wait. I don't want to have it wait a second. That's a long time to hang in the air. So let me try that at 0.25 seconds. Quarter of a second should be good. And then I'm going to change y. And if it goes up by 10, then I want it to come down by 10 at the end of the jump. Oh, there we go. So when the space key is pressed, Pico is going to jump up just like that. Okay, well, that's kind of a little hop up in the air, but not nearly enough to get up to where that butterfly is. So let's try 100 because we were way short of what we needed. Minus 100 up and then minus 100 down. So let's give this a start and press a key to get Pico walking. Oh, that's a good jump. And I think hopefully that's enough for us to be able to get the butterfly. Yep, it gets up there. Okay, great. And I should go back to the butterfly and change this to when any key is pressed. There we go. Okay, so right now, pretty good. Jumping up in the air, and butterflies come across, and I can get up to where the butterfly is. And let's do a couple of things with this. First of all, when the butterfly gets up, we're going to want to have a score that goes up by 1 every time the butterfly is touching Pico. So let's do that here. To keep a score, we're going to need a variable, and we're going to make a variable. We're going to call it score. For variables, most of the time you want to leave them for all sprites. Only go with for this sprite only if you have a specific reason to do that. And we don't. We want this for all sprites. So we're going to create that variable, and you notice that score comes up on the stage displaying what the score is. And let's go over to the butterfly. So when it starts as a clone, we're going to repeat this, change x by -10. And the other thing we're going to add in there is that if it is touching Pico, then we're going to put the score up by 1, and we're going to delete the clone as soon as it touches Pico. Okay, so let's go to controls, and we'll go if. Okay, go if, and under sensing, we can tell if something is touching something else on the screen with the if touching, and if touching Pico walking. Then we're going to do two things. We're going to increase the score by 1. So change and make sure that says score. I've had so many times where things weren't working for me that came down to me not having changed it to the correct variable to make changes to. So make sure you have the changes to the correct variable. So it's going to change the score by 1, and also it is going to delete the clone. So let's see how that works. And we should get some butterflies coming across now. Oh, and when I jump up and get the butterfly, the score increases by 1. Great. And there's one more thing we have to do. When we stop the game and I want to start it again, I'm going to press the any key, and you might notice that the score is not changing. It stayed at 4. And actually, it should go back down to 0 when we start the game again. So the other thing that we're going to need to do is at the start of the game, we are going to need to set score to 0. So we'll do that here with the butterfly under when the flag is clicked. Set the score to 0 when the flag is clicked. And other than that, we should have everything set. So I clicked on the flag and the score got reset to 0. Press any key to get started. And I can jump up and grab Pico, and Pico gets the butterfly, and it disappears, and score goes up by 1. It kind of looks like Pico is eating the butterfly. That's okay, as long as we're getting a score going up. That's what matters here. So that is the change that we have made, is adding a butterfly flying across, and then Pico jumping up and increasing the score by 1 every time it gets the butterfly. So add that one into your project, or you can make some variations on that. It doesn't have to be a butterfly. Do whatever you want, but that is how you add something moving across the screen so that it will be caught and the points will increase. Thank you for watching. Hit the like and the subscribe button, and I'll see you the next time.